We're live. Let's get over to Facebook and do some sharing.
Facebook.
Faceless book.
Yeah.
Hey, I recognize those people. It says live. Where's our live screen? I'm going to refresh. There we are. Share as me. Is that my mic making all that noise?
Yes.
It is.
I'm not moving or anything.
The table is shaking my mic boom. It's the dinosaur on the cable. It's the 3D printed dinosaur. His bones were wiggling together and causing vibrations on the microphone. Listen, people,
Oh, that little thing hanging on there.
don't store dinosaurs on your microphone.
Oh, did you see what I left on your desk?
What you left on my desk?
I put it right in front of your keyboard.
Yeah, but I've been shuffling things around.
Oh, when I left last week.
The
poop duck.
Oh, is that where that came from? Yes, I did. I was actually on a live stream Friday and I raised it up. Has everybody got their poop duck?
Actually, Jason McKee made those.
They're
made
3D
those 3D
printed, but they're also squishable.
Yeah. What was that? What's that material they use for something for squishable?
I don't know.
I've seen people doing it on some YouTube shows. You know, they were demonstrating it.
The T-Rex is eating the poop duck. Just tastes like, well, you know.
Yeah. It's some
chicken.
Yeah, I saw him. The guy, it's that they got Jesse. Uncle Jesse, his 3D thing. He printed that bag. Remember? I think I sent it to you.
Yes, I think that's the same material.
Yes, it is. I'm trying to remember some soft TPU or something.
That's all right. TP. You said TP.
Well,
all right.
It's appropriate with a poop duck.
That it is. Fair point. Fair point.
That's right.
All right, let's make sure sound effects are working. Sound effects are working.
Yep.
Let's make sure. Okay. Hey, somebody was watching, then they left. They gave us a like and ran.
They just stuck their head in the door and went, nope, not for me.
Yeah, it's like when you sit down, that dream you had in college where you're in the wrong class.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Economics 101. Oh, crap.
Yeah. But in the dream, you don't have your clothes on. You're sitting in the wrong.
You haven't been going to class all semester and it's exam time. I forgot to I thought I withdraw from this class. Many a college student have that dream.
Yeah.
All right, let's begin, shall we?
All right.
Okay, hit the record button and see what happens. Technorama episode 743, Leaving Las Vegas. Hey, welcome to Technorama. This is the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the show. If you are returning, welcome back. We appreciate you giving us your time. My name is Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. I almost said my job title in there. That wouldn't have made any sense in this context.
No.
I've just been so used to spewing that out. When
just podcaster. Podcaster.
My name is Chuck Tomasi, senior podcaster. Yeah, we'll go with
right.
And right over there is Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm ready to get back going on this after a long week or 2 weeks of work. It was a long couple of weeks for sure.
Yes, it has. We had a conference in Las Vegas. I think we warned everybody about that plenty in advance. There was a lot going on. And last week was kind of a catch-up week. And as I mentioned to Craig right before the show, trying to push some ropes uphill at this point.
Ropes?
Yes. You know, pushing ropes is fun enough, but pushing ropes uphill.
Well, my boss told everybody not to expect anything heavy from my team this week after coming back from the conference. Cause we're all I took a day off and some other took a day off and we just trying to get back in the swing. And then, of course, apparently nobody else got that memo because we had fires and everything else going on. It's it's like nothing happened.
Our boss said, take Monday off. I said, I got too much to catch up on. We got a podcast that's due on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Lauren and I kind of went, wink, wink. We're gonna
Yeah.
record the podcast and not much else. Wink, wink.
Yeah. I
So
did.
then I edited it up Tuesday, but it was a nice light week
Mhm.
because nobody else seemed to be doing much.
Shit.
The
Must have been nice.
it always cracks me up when they say, "Oh, take some time off after the conference." Like, no, we can't because we got to jump right into the next release.
Yeah.
Because it
That's
takes
true.
about 2 months for us to spin up that whole process. 8 to 10
Mhm.
weeks is when we need to start with paperwork and importing what it is we're going to research and then doing the research and then pulling that all together in a nice PowerPoint deck and coordinating 4 people and the project manager and getting this all ready for an August 1st launch.
Right.
There's no time to sit on our hands. Take
No.
time off.
Well, I took Monday off. And formerly I did, but I ended up I had a one-on-one with our director, and he had already rescheduled a couple times because of problems on his side. I was like, no problem. So I saw it on my calendar, and I went, okay, I got one meeting. I technically took the day off.
Yeah.
But I thought I'm going to attend that meeting because he's already rescheduled it a few times, and I didn't want him to have to try and straighten that out again. So I had one meeting. It's not a big deal. He's actually pretty easy to talk to and hang out with. So, but I could see fires were starting to happen at work. I was like, oh, so I stayed clear that day, but the rest of the week was not so easy.
I did counting from like here through the first weekend in September when we go to Dragon Con, basically.
Mhm.
Out of those 16 upcoming weeks, I've got about 4 where I'm here all 5 days. There's either a holiday, which is like 4th of July, is a
Right.
Thursday, Friday, 4th and 5th. There's these random well-being days that they give
Yep.
us.
Yep.
There's Memorial Day. I've got some PTO for my sister's wedding. I've got some PTO where we're going to Hawaii. And people are probably going, oh, poor you. It's hard to get things done when there's not much time to get it done. And you have to coordinate with other people and they're on PTO.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be real productive in the next few months.
And what's the point of going on a trip if you got to keep checking your stuff anyway? So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's the kicker.
And I've done that.
It would be so much easier if we didn't have jobs, wouldn't it? Just go on vacation and come back and don't care.
There's one way to fix that.
Look, the toilet needs flushing because it's low on water because I've been gone for 3 weeks. That'd be the toughest part. Yeah, there's one way to fix that.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we get going with our regular show? We've bantered enough.
Yeah, I'm tired of bantering.
We have fulfilled the banter requirement.
That's right.
Let's I think it's this one, the purple button.
Letters, oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you need. Oh boy! Mailman, mail today.
All right.
If you're not watching the video, you're missing the visuals to that.
I wasn't watching. What did I miss?
You'll go back and watch some other time. Our question of the week last time was, if time travel were possible, would you visit the past or the future? And what's the first thing you'd want to see? So we had a few write-ins because we posted this a little later than expected.
You can read Steve's.
Steve London,
Yeah.
the man with the long descriptions that we love.
Yeah.
He says, 1, how does it work? Wait, you can't answer our question with another
There's a flux capacitor, and
do we actually move back and forth in our own timeline, or is it an alternate timeline that branches off into alternate timeline, thus creating several instances of alternate timelines? I'm picturing Doc Brown and the chalkboard at this point.
I know, right?
If we moved back and forth in our own timeline, then I would probably only go into the future to avoid causing some sort of butterfly effect. But if my travels wouldn't affect my current timeline, okay, let's just say you're an observer at this point and you don't impact anything. I would go nuts. Time to do some sketchy explicative here.
Hey, that's not you're still going to hit the butterfly effect.
if you're an
He's not an
observer.
observer at that point.
Yeah. I would like to be a fly on the wall. There we go.
Mhm.
During some big and exciting historical moments, like the
Mhm.
Beer Hall Putsch of 1923, or crossing paths with some of our great geniuses in history. And into the future, did humanity go under or did we fix it? But the best part of it all, that I would have all the time in the world to do whatever I wanted and could learn whatever whenever I wanted. What do we want? Time travel. When do we want it? Irrelevant.
Relevant.
Yeah, that's a good one. But first of all, who built the pyramids? That we need to check out. Well, I'm
Yeah.
going to go with the Egyptians at this point.
Hey, wait a minute. Aliens.
No, not aliens. They lost. Get over it.
Fritz Seward says Bethlehem, approximately 5 hours AD.
5 hours.
Yeah, when the the three kings are arriving.
Oh, well, I hate to do an actually on you, but they came along a few years later. They weren't there at the birth. That's just the way the pictures describe it.
Hey, do you have time travel? How would you know?
According to the document, we've got right now, they came along later.
They came when they looked at the guest book to see when they signed up.
Right.
John
But
Kratzer says ENIAC.
he wants to. What would you want to see, and where would
You want to just go see it? When it turned it on or something? I don't know. Is that what it is?
I'm kind of with Fritz. I'd like to, witness a few biblical things. I know that would totally destroy the whole purpose of faith.
Right.
But come on, there's a little doubting Thomas in all of us, right? When you want to just go, is that really what happened?
I believe. I want to believe.
I want to believe.
Hey, how about going to New Mexico?
Going into New Mexico?
Yeah.
During the atomic bomb
Not
testing?
that part. I was thinking of Roswell.
Oh.
Yeah. Not the yeah. Oh, look.
Wow, that's a bright light.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
I think I just saw a guy get into a refrigerator.
Yeah. Get out of one. All right. So my friend Adrian Meredith says Summer of Love, all the concerts on Haight Street. Excuse me.
No, it's hate.
Haight?
Hate
Yeah, Haight. Hey, that's right.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That could be fun. Well, yeah, be fun.
I think if you went back too far, it'd be a little difficult to communicate with anybody. Even if you were an observer, like what language are they speaking? You get into Middle English, it's kind of tricky. You get into Old English, it's impossible. You go to a different country, I mean, you'd have to have that universal translator thing working. Otherwise, what's the I went back to see Jesus get nailed to the cross, but I couldn't understand a thing they were saying except "ow."
Except for Al. Well, I'll tell you, I think I've talked about this before, but I went and downloaded off of the Internet Archives. There was some old Scientific American magazines, Scientific America.
Yes.
And they had some stories in them. And the stories, these are like the late 1800s. And when you're reading it, it's like, I recognize the words, but I'm not sure how they're using them. They're
Right.
It is different. A lot of the words are used differently.
You gotta listen to Grammar Girl more. She talks all about that, how words change meaning.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was it? Was it gargantuan or something? There's a word that we use today that everybody kind of, what it means. That's not what it meant, 100 years ago.
Right.
I'd like to go forward. I'd like to see the future. I'm with Steve. Did we survive? What are the ramifications of the choices we're making today? Because we're still living out ramifications of choices that were made 100 years ago. What countries did we ally ourselves with, or who did we pay, or who got killed and took power in this country? And it's really an interesting, if you just follow the threads and go into the future 100 years, say, where did that? Oh, hey, don't elect that person. Please don't elect that person.
Right. Or maybe we could go into the future and get Gray's Sports Almanac, and we can get the scores.
You'd only be an observer, Craig. Only be an observer.
That's no fun.
No.
Hey, well, I can observe stock prices.
Did I ever get any grandchildren?
Marty,
that was a fun
I gotta
question.
tell you about your kids. No, wait.
It's not you, it's your kids.
Yeah.
When you say they're not morons or something, are they?
Well,
Anyway, that's that for the feedback. We'll have another question for you at the end of the show. But until then, speaking of history, let's go back in time.
roll it back.
This is how it looked on this day in history for May 22nd, 2024. It's the 143rd day of the year of the Gregorian calendar. That means there are 223 days remaining in 2024. It was on this date in 1762. 1762. This one baffled me. That Trevi Fountain. You saw Trevi Fountain, did you
I've
not?
been there. Yeah.
Yeah. It was officially completed and inaugurated in Rome.
Wow.
I would have thought that thing was like, 1300s, 1400s, maybe 1500s. 1762 is when it was done.
Huh.
Amazing.
Okay. Yeah, it is amazing. Also, in this date in 1804, the Lewis and Clark expedition officially began the Corpse of Discovery.
Corpse.
Yeah. Corpse of Discovery. Departed from St. Charles, Missouri.
Little known fact, they didn't leave on their own volition. They were forced out of St. Louis or St. Charles.
Oh, is this another
Get
one of those because you time traveled there? Or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because Lewis and Clark, they were gay, but that wasn't cool at the time.
Now it is. Widely accepted.
Not in St. Charles in 1804. May 22nd, we are just all over the place. May 22nd, 1826, the HMS Beagle. Yeah, Chucky Darwin's ship.
Snoopy.
Departed on its first voyage. They were forced out of the harbor, too.
Yeah, it was nicknamed
Crazy.
Snoopy.
Get him out of here.
It was nicknamed Snoopy. Also on May 22nd, 1846, the Associated Press was formed in New York City as a
New York City.
I know, stupid salsa joke. Also as a nonprofit news cooperative.
The Associated Press. Live on, AP. Future U.S. President Abraham Lincoln was issued a patent for an invention to lift boats, making him the only U.S. president to ever hold a patent on this date in 1849.
Little known fact, he was just raising the water.
He was lowering the water.
Raising the tide to lift all boats. Never mind. It was also on this date in 1866 that Oliver Winchester founded the Winchester Repeating Arms.
Yay! I always thought that was a misstep in Supernatural, where they had a Colt instead of a Winchester. What's the family name here?
Oh,
Winchester.
yeah.
Why would you have that old gun as a Colt? Anyway, May 22nd, 1906, the Wright brothers were granted U.S. patent number 821393 for their, quote, flying machine.
The one that you could also impersonate with a barn door. Isn't that what that guy said?
No.
Yes, he did.
with enough power, I could fly a barn door.
Yeah. Apollo 10's lunar module flew within 8.4 nautical miles of the moon's surface on this date in 1969.
So close.
Why did they say nautical?
Because it was NASA.
This is space.
Yeah.
It has no rules up there.
Space miles.
Space miles.
They were flying by the moon, and
no, it's called Smiles,
said, hey,
Chuck. It's called Smiles.
I can see my house from here.
Yeah, 8.4 smiles.
Also on May 22nd, 2012, SpaceX COTS, C-O-T-S demo flight number 2 launched a Dragon capsule on a Falcon 9 rocket in the first commercial flight to the International Space Station.
All right.
They showed commercials on that flight.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Happy birthday goes out of the state to English physicist and inventor, the guy who invented the electromagnet and electric motor, William Electric Motor.
Yeah.
No, William Sturgeon. He was born on this date in 1783. You're not going to get a straight answer out of either of us tonight.
No, his family name is after a fish. All right.
Like a sturgeon.
Yeah. All right. Brazilian engineer and politician Augusto Pastrana was born 156 years ago today.
Born May 22nd, 1904, Swedish electrical engineer and inventor Uno Lam.
And German physicist and academic co-invented the electron microscope. Bodo von Boris was born 119 years ago today.
Why don't we call it the Bodoscope?
No kidding.
That would have been a better name. Or the electron borescope. Ooh, electron boring machine.
Okay, let's move along.
May 22nd, 1912, English chemist and academicist, the Nobel Prize laureate, Herbert C. Brown assist.
Yeah, right. Austrian American astrophysicist and academicist was born. Thomas Scott was born on this date in 1920.
1920th.
Yeah.
Also turning 78 today, a Russian-Ukrainian astronomer. Oh boy. Lyudmila Zhurleva.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Lyudmila Zhurleva.
Yeah.
I'll be
All right.
Zhurleva your dollar on the table.
English physicist and academic Michael Green was born at 78 today. Excuse me.
That Michael Green?
That Michael Green.
Finally, Japanese-American physicist and engineer Nobel Prize laureate Shuji Nakamura was born on this date in 1954. It's the Japanese names I can handle.
That Suji Nakamura?
That one. Hey, we
Okay.
got listener birthdays too. 4 of them, in fact. We're going to
Wow.
go back in time. Oh, the music is running out. You hear that?
Yeah.
They took it up.
Make it quick.
Okay. I'll go as quick as possible. 4 birthdays on the 6th because we want to include people while we were out. Amber
Right.
Pace, Bill Barber, Steve Bickle, and Brian Brown. May 8th is... Didn't make it. That's all right.
No.
May 8th is Curtis Parrish. May 12th, apparently someone's being funny because it's Amanda Hugginkiss.
Oh,
I'm looking for Amanda Hugginkiss. Yeah,
stupid prank caller again. No.
May 14th, JPCJ. Dan Delaney is on the 16th. On the 22nd, longtime listener and friend of the show, Tim Elliott. Chris Zeal, host and producer of the AV Cast and 24 Under Review, is on the 23rd. Eli Euchelzon is on the 26th. Tanya from Dancing with Elephants, or the podcast formerly known as Dancing with Elephants, is on the
Right.
27th. And happy birthday on the 28th to Chris Martins, host of the Jesus Geeks,
Greeks.
ZNet Central, and producer of On the Edge of Darkness. That's the way it was on this day in history for May 22nd, 2024. And if you, dear listener or viewer, if you want to get on the birthday calendar,
Mhm.
well, you know what you can do? You go back to the last show and do what I told you there.
Or go
Or-
back in time.
Yeah, listen to the last episode and it'll say something like, oh, you go to chuckchat.com. It'll say, Craig, get the banner up there. Then
Oh,
it will
wait.
say, you go to chuckchat.com/birthday.
Like that.
There it is. Johnny on the spot.
Here, I'll make it come up a couple times. There you go.
Yeah, our titles are also flashing. I'm getting
Yeah.
epilepsy here,
That's right.
which means it's now time for random light blue button.
Good news, everyone!
Well, this is kind of scary news.
Actually, it is.
Many of our listeners have heard of the asteroid called Apophis. Apophis is the one that's coming really apawfully close.
We've actually talked about this
We have.
here a few times. Yeah.
And they said, oh, if it comes by and it goes through this little keyhole, well, then it's going to collide. But it didn't go through the keyhole. And now it's coming back in 2029. And scientists want to study it because it's going to be really close. Like 20,000 miles or 32,000 kilometers. And if memory serves, the moon is what? About 300,000 kilometers away. So it's going to be like, it's close enough to probably take out a few satellites.
Yeah.
But it won't hit us, at least not this time around. But they want to know what's going to happen to it. Is it impacted by Earth's gravity? I'm going to say yes, because you come that close, you're going to have a little bend.
I can't
in-
imagine it wouldn't at least to some degree.
Right. And what is going to happen to the internal structure of this thing? Our gravity is going to push and pull on it, much like Jupiter tugs on its moons, or we tug on our moon. Is it going to stretch? It could break up, like Shoemaker Levy 9 did before it finally came around for another pass and crashed into Jupiter.
Mhm.
So we don't know. And they want to send out some rockets and satellites, and they're repurposing Osiris Rex to go, fetch, Rex, fetch.
Yeah. See
Blue
the dog
Origin
bringing
is-
back. Hey, the dog, like a dog bringing back an asteroid or a rocket that's about to blow up.
Blue Origin is sending out their Blue Ring orbital platform to deliver payloads to Apophis. And the thing that occurred in my brain is, what if
Mhm.
by nature of just exploring this thing, we change it onto a collision course trajectory?
Yeah. Well, that yeah.
I'm gonna deliver a payload. You just change the gravitational, you just change the mass of this, and therefore you just doomed the Earth. It is,
Way to
what did
go,
you say,
Todd.
1,100. It's 1,100 feet wide, or 335 meters. That's no small potato.
No, it's not.
This would cause problems on Earth for years to come.
Well, I before I got down to the bottom part of this article where they're talking about what they're wanting to put some things on it, my first thought was, why don't we put like a beacon or something that we can make it easier to track? You
Doink,
know,
doink. Oh, they
Yeah.
know where it is.
no, I mean, when it comes back around, you get a better idea rather than just, I'm just saying.
You
it
get
might
an
be
alert
easier.
on your phone. Apophis is arriving in 10 minutes.
Oh crap! I had do not disturb turn on.
I missed the collision warning. That's a bad day for Earth.
Yeah.
In other space news,
Yes.
Bennu. We were just talking about Osiris Rex.
Yeah. Now, we covered this story a good bit following these articles, and whenever any of these come up, I'm always interested in it. So I figure somebody else might be as well.
So when scientists look at meteorites, the rocks
Mhm.
that fall from space, dating way back to 1877, with English geologist Henry Clifton Sorby, when he first looked at these things under a microscope, he found these small spherical rocks and described them as drops of fiery rain, now known as chondrules. Okay.
Mhm.
But they discovered, when looking at the samples from Bennu, which was just a few ounces or 121 grams, they didn't find any chondrules, which is very interesting. So what they're
Yeah.
going to do is take a slice of this thing, like just a few microns thick. They're going to take one of these little pieces of rock or grains and slice into it, look at it under a microscope, and see what they find. So it's fascinating. What they suspect is that Bennu was large enough at one time to have ice or possibly even liquid water on it at one time, and that changed the makeup of the rock, which is why we don't see the chondrules.
You mean Dwayne Johnson?
I was wondering if the chondrules are part of the process that a meteorite goes through as it's coming to Earth. I mean, I'm sorry. Please forgive the terminology. When a meteor is coming to Earth.
Right.
Okay. Out there, it's a meteoroid. When it's coming at us, it's a meteor. And when it hits the ground, it's a meteorite. So
How does that work with the stalagmites and stalactites?
meteoroids stick to the ceiling. Meteorites
Oh.
are at your are right at your feet.
Okay.
I don't know.
Got it.
You make up your own mnemonic for those.
Okay.
I can't solve all your brain problems for you.
No,
But I
thank
thought it was
you.
fascinating. And I was wondering, maybe this is just me thinking out loud. I'm not a geologist or astrobiologist.
But
or
you stayed in
anything.
the Holiday Inn Express last night.
Yeah, and I brushed my teeth this morning.
I hope
But
so.
what if the process of going through the atmosphere generates these chondrules? And
You
that's
mean
why
like
they
the
didn't see
heat?
it,
The
because
heat and everything as it's coming
yeah,
in?
the Bennu
Pressure?
thing didn't come in the normal way. It took the fast pass lane. I don't know. Just
Well,
here.
in all fairness, the sample that they had was covered. It was inside the
Yeah.
the thing, so it was protected from any of the
Mhm.
elements as
Yeah.
it came in. So yeah, if something was coming in, I can imagine the pressure and heat as maybe that would affect it coming
This
in.
is the first time we've had an up close look at stuff that hasn't come at us through the fiery rain of atmosphere. I'm just speaking of fiery rain, the Hypnotoad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this
All
article.
hell.
Thank you for including this. This is from cracked.com.
Hmm.
And it was posted on May 8th. So forgive, we missed Amphibian Week while we were at our conference.
Yeah. Well, we were celebrating in our own way.
Futurama Futurama has, if you're not a Futurama fan, they have a character on there called the Hypnotoad. He just sits there and his eyes are going back and forth, lit up, and you hear this kind of electronic buzzing, distorted noise. Right?
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit like Daft Punk music.
Yeah.
And you know, he can brainwash his audience or whatever.
Mhm.
He doesn't really say anything. It's just everybody kind of gets glazed over
Well,
when
when
you
you-
watch the Hypnotoad.
Well, when you refer to him as a character, he doesn't really do anything. I don't even know if there's
That's
a backstory
exactly
for
it.
him.
He doesn't do anything. And it's the easiest thing to animate. Well, kudos to the National Park Service because on May 7th, they posted a picture of a toad to celebrate Amphibian Week. And it says, all glory to the Hypnotoad.
Yeah,
Also, hashtag Amphibian Week,
that's pretty funny.
which
Yeah.
I thought was funny. They've had some other ones too. They had one last year in July with a pony, a horse. They look like the ones from Iceland that have the really shaggy
Yeah.
manes. And they were making fun of an old like
Like-
shampoo commercial. And it says, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
It looked like a couple of horse Fabios.
That's what the ones in India look like. Although I the one I was looking at looked more like Vince Neil from
Back in his
You-
heyday.
very light blonde. So
Yeah.
beautiful horses on this picture, but it just, I love it when, you know, the government shows that there are real people with real senses of humor behind this.
Oh yeah.
All hail the Hypnotoad. We have a Hypnotoad that rides on the front of our truck for the Dragon Con parade.
Yeah, we do.
Nobody's fallen victim to it yet.
How do we know?
We must be doing something wrong. We're going to have
Right.
to try hard. We'll have to make some suggestions. Okay. Yeah. Tell people, hey, watch the Technorama podcast.
Yeah.
Become a Patreon member. 80,000 people later.
Right.
Hey, it's working. We should just carry him in the jar and just wave him in front of people's faces.
He sits on a tray.
Yeah.
I have to inflate him.
I'm not even going to touch that. You just know there's no.
Well, somebody does.
Yeah, no, there's too many opportunities for
Okay.
dirty
All
jokes in there.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move along. You know,
Moving along, we're going to go over this one lightly because, again, we're not physicists, but this one involves
speak for yourself.
quantum teleportation.
Yeah.
In Turku, Finland, they have successfully done a quantum teleportation of a particle. What did they send?
Yeah. Wasn't it like a
I'm just going to read the second paragraph. Quantum
Yeah, do that.
teleportation is a process in which a state of a quantum particle or qubit is transferred from one location to another without physically sending the particle itself. This transfer requires quantum resources such as entanglement between an additional pair of qubits. Now, in transporting, you're not making a copy, you are destroying the original. I don't want to be the person who steps into the transporter for the first time.
Yeah, isn't that the hot debate that they've had about transporters this whole time? Is like, how many times was Kirk destroyed and reassembled?
Split or
Yeah.
It's interesting that it opens up a whole bunch of things. I don't think if we could, first it would take massive amounts of energy, massive amounts of computing power to do this on a larger scale. We did it with one quantum bit, that one little particle, not an atom.
Yes.
Adam,
No. Yes. No.
Much bigger. No, a qubit is whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
You think
Literally, whatever.
what's the answer? Qubit, everything,
Yeah.
anything, all at once.
Whatever.
So interesting stuff. Long article. I got about 10 minutes into it and got hurdy brain.
It was a long article.
Yeah, it was.
See, I thwarted you because I just didn't spend my time reading it.
Shout out to the chat room. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a couple people out there, but they haven't put anything in the chat. But all the best to you if you're
They're
watching.
trolling us.
If you're watching later,
Mhm.
God bless you. If you're listening later, thank you very much. We do the show live. If you want to join us, like a couple of people are just kind of hiding out there. Maybe they're on Twitter and they can't reply. I don't know.
Yeah.
And 8:30 Eastern. Yeah, that's what it is. Sunday nights when we're around, when we're not at a conference or something, or at somebody's wedding, which is coming up in June. So
Oh,
we'd
yes.
love to have you hang out with us. Make some smart aleck comments, throw it back in our face like monkeys in the zoo.
Yeah, correct us. That's the way we get feedback. Say
If
something
you
wrong
know
and
more
we'll,
about, you may know more about qubits than we do. We'd love to hear from you.
I would not doubt that.
There's probably lots of people out there that do.
Hmm.
All right. Thank you. And join us on Sundays at 8:30 Eastern time. Okay, jumping into our look back in a segment we call Remember When. Well, we have a video in the Remember When segment from when Star Wars was open for, about a week.
Yeah.
And his television station was doing a segment showing how long the lines were and interviewing people in the line who said, I thought I'd wait a while till the lines went down. They didn't go down.
No.
And then they told you the ticket price of the movie. Oh, it was expensive. $3.75 in $1977.
Hey,
You know, that
by
was
the way,
about what minimum wage was back then. So think about it.
let me comment on one thing. And when this video starts and you see they show the wide angle of the line,
Yeah.
the old cars that are there dropping people off. I love
And
that.
the lady at the ticket counter. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's like a larger than normal hole where you could literally stick your arm in there, and before they had where you couldn't stick your arm in. And then
Not really.
the little crappy metal speaker like thing that's in the glass that was
Yeah.
totally useless. It didn't help sound travel through the hole.
No.
She just person after person. How many, please? And
Yeah.
then she gives them their change in cash, no less. This is
Yeah.
like- and coins would roll out that little tray.
Yeah. Nobody was using any cards back then.
No. They wouldn't know what to do.
I'm
with
sorry.
it.
Can I use my Diners Club?
Should I order a Diners Club? That was a big thing at one time.
It was. Yeah.
Bank
Here's my-
AmeriCard?
I want to see the Star Wars. Here's my Sears and Roebuck card.
Do you take Bank AmeriCard?
Yeah. Hey, I love that first couple they actually speak to.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, we like science fiction and we're big proponents of space and things like that, of that nature. That's what he said.
And there was a quote in there, something like, this could be the start of something new in science fiction or something. It was
A classic. The guy that calls it a classic.
yeah. There was a quote in the comments that I missed, but it was
Oh, in the comments. Oh,
yeah.
I
It's
think it's going to be a science fiction classic.
That's it.
Yeah, it couldn't
I
have been more right, my dude. That's what it
Hi, dude.
That's right. Oh yeah. Now I didn't go see it opening weekend, but my parents took my brother and I a little bit later, and it was still in the theater because it was their anniversary. So it wasn't opening weekend, but it was, back then they'd have movies that stayed for weeks at a time or maybe even months.
Months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could always catch one. So I didn't have to stand in line for that. But Empire Strikes Back I did
All righty.
with my old buddy Robert Fisher.
Staying on a similar space theme,
Yep.
the Voyager probes are on their way, way, 44 billion miles away,
Now,
or
let me
kilometers, and still going.
Now, by the way, the reason I put this article in here is because
We
we've been
recently had
talking
a
about it so much, and with the
memory
computer,
problem.
with the computer problems, I thought,
Right.
oh, here's an explanation of the computers that they're actually on there. So I thought it would be interesting to.
Well, the scary part is there's not a whole lot of documentation. In fact, this guy went looking around. He said, "Oh, theoretically, there's a document in where was it, Missouri?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're under construction right now, so you can't have access to it." And JPL says, "Let us know if you get your hands on that."
Yeah, right.
Because we didn't know anything about it. So this is the frightening part. I'm wondering, how did the scientists who made this diagnosis and repair on the recent faulty memory issue know enough about what's out there,
Yeah.
coming up on 50 years later? So
Hey,
there's some assumptions made in this document that the it's not a single processor. This is like hardcore bare metal stuff
Mhm.
using straight up TTL logic. because no single processor would have been able to handle the capacity. And it also meant that the one team, because there were multiple teams, this one taking care of the flight data system and that one taking care of the telemetry and that one, nobody could monopolize a single CPU. So it had some benefits. They were really creative. I was reading through this article going, wow, there are some serious problems that they had to overcome for the time.
Yes, absolutely.
CMOS was new, and they went with that. And they said, yeah, but that carries risks because if the power goes out, we'll lose everything in memory. So they said, well, we can fix that. And they rerouted it. So it was like triple redundant. And it said, if the power goes out, we got bigger problems. And so the cool stuff.
It is pretty amazing. I'm surprised, even by today's standards, of course, how they can't just simply build a replica nowadays, because it should be able to get those parts pretty easy.
When's the last time you saw 7400?
I don't know. Or what about a virtual machine? I mean, I don't know, but something that they could.
Let's virtually fly the space probe.
Let's run the Voyager program VM.
I thought it was interesting, that this researcher said it was very similar. The command computing subsystem was similar to the Viking orbiters that went to Mars. I also thought it was really interesting that the modules that they had in here were labeled MJS-77FDS. Now, here's the thing. The original designation for the Voyager was the Mariner Jupiter Saturn 1977 mission.
Is that where it's intended to go originally?
It went to Jupiter and Saturn.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess back up. I'm sorry. I guess the original mission wasn't to go way on out where it's at today. So yeah.
I like the serial number 003.
3 and 4.
Well, no, they had multiples of these modules, one of 8 cards that made up the flight data system.
Are you going to open up the case and there's going to be WAS written in there? Like in the Apple case?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Only on the Voyager 1, though. The Voyager 2, they didn't do that anymore.
Right.
Andy Hertzfeld said no.
That hurts.
That's remember when for Voyager. Lost somewhere in the Delta Quadrant, but they're on their way back.
So they went through the Badlands and ended up in the Delta Quadrant.
That's where it's headed. Or it's going to come back as V'ger and attack us all. All righty. This is the part of the show based on what music is playing in the background. This is the part of the show where we thank our patrons. These are the people that have coughed up cash out of their own hard-earned paycheck and donated some of it to us to keep the show going, to pay for software and upgrades and bandwidth and all kinds of stuff. People like Alexis Duran. Why did my cursor just pop up a picture in front of my face? Anyway, Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dan D. Mancoyer, Dean Jensen, Gary Lindros, John Clifford. Thank you, John Noble, Jorgen Schrauen. Thank you, your name here in italics bold. Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Brad Miller, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, Steve Weshy, Steve Cody, Steve Therian, Steve Webb, Steve Cook, and Tim Cook. I said Steve Therian, Steve Webb, Steve London, and Tim Cook. I might have messed up some of those.
I think you said Steve Cook in there.
I think I did. I jumped ahead. Reason I said that is because most of these are alphabetic, except for Brad Miller. I'm not sure what happened there. But if your name fits between the letters J and K, we have a spot reserved for you.
Yeah.
Technically, it needs to be after Yorga, but before Kyle. That's not much room, Kara.
Hey,
Carl.
Wait a minute. Let's clarify. We will make a new row. In case.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we can afford a new row.
We have to reorganize everything manually in the template. All right. If you want to be a patron, well, it's on the screen. Thank you very much, Craig. So I will read it. It says patreon.com/Technorama podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Do you know we have people now joining in the free tier? Do we have a free tier? And what do they get? Nothing?
I didn't think we had one. We'll have to.
Somebody joined in April as a free tier.
Bring this up in the Technorama, meeting.
Oh, the board meeting. Yes, of course. I'm making a note of it right now.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
I'm writing it on this cocktail napkin here. Oh, wait. It already says pay your bill. We don't need that one either.
Pay here.
Okay. That's it. Thank you very much for everybody who has contributed to the show.
Yes.
Keeps it going. Allows us to have fun on Sunday nights at your expense. All right.
Yeah.
Now we have Pass Me the Remote.
Yay.
This is where Craig and I talk about things we've watched or read or tripped over.
Give it.
I saw one on Netflix called
Wait, give it.
Yes.
Hey, what? Give it. Come on. Oh, God.
For those listening at home, I threw something at him. We're side by side on the monitor.
Yeah. It's like, oh, God.
Alrighty. Netflix show called Secrets of the Neanderthals. Actually, it's not. I didn't see it on Netflix. I saw it on PBS on YouTube, and then it happened to show up on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Same show. Weird, right? I didn't think
Yeah.
PBS had a whole bunch of stuff on Netflix, but they do.
Well, they're not too secret anymore.
Narrated by Sir Patrick Stewart.
Okay.
Focuses largely around a cave in northern Turkey, or northern Syria, somewhere over there. And this cave was originally explored in the early 1960s by a rather famous archaeologist, and he learned a whole bunch of stuff about the Neanderthals that we didn't know, because up until that time, we thought they were just large, lumbering, slow, stupid, meat-eating people that, died.
Much like people like today.
I don't know anybody like that. Do you?
Shoot. You know plenty of people like meat eaters slumbering around. Yeah.
No. That we learned they buried their dead. They called one the flower. He found 4 or 5 of them, ranging anywhere from 45,000 to 75,000 years old in this cave.
Wow.
Lots of tools, lots of jewelry, just interesting stuff in this cave. And unfortunately, they couldn't go back. There were political things, there were wars, and then in 2023.
Oh, you mean the researchers couldn't go back? I'm sorry.
Right, the archaeologists could not go back.
I was like, wow, those Neanderthals were really advanced with the political.
We learned a lot.
Yeah.
And people have been studying the scientists' works for it. Now they finally get to go back, and they were just sort of confirming some things, and they went, oh my gosh, we found a couple more. And we learned even more about this stuff, that they were taken care of when they were injured. One person showed like an injury to the ribs, probably from a spear, penetrated the rib, but yet they lived long enough. You could see healing around the ribs. Then they did a facial reconstruction of the new one they found. And I swear, if it doesn't look like one of the ladies we have at church.
Chuck.
I said, Donna, who's that look like?
No, that's not. No.
It looked like somebody I know.
Okay. All right. Hey, let's wrap up this show, shall we?
What it means is, and they said that almost every one of us has a little bit of Neanderthal DNA in us.
Sure.
So that's, could account for some people having a heavier brow ridge or thicker bone structure or whatever. So I'm all for diversity, but fascinating show. Find it on YouTube's PBS channel or PBS's YouTube channel or Netflix. Secrets of the Neanderthals. It got a little mixed up there. What do you got?
Did. All right. So Kim and I watched Lyft from Netflix. And
is that the ride-hailing company?
It would have been more interesting.
Was this a POS?
It was not great.
A pretty awful show.
Look, I really like Kevin Hart, right?
Yeah.
But some of his movies are just they just don't work.
Worth a pass.
Yeah. So there's an international heist crew is recruited to prevent a terrorist attack and must pull off a heist on a plane in mid-flight. Sounds interesting. It was one thing after another. It's hard to even explain. It was just so predictable and It just did not work for me at all. And that's hard for me to come up something negative from a movie, but
Okay.
it was.
So skip it, everybody.
I
Lift
mean,
on Netflix.
even Rotten Tomatoes has it at 29%.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably want to skip that one.
Well, I found an old favorite of mine from the Discovery Channel from over 30 years ago called Connections with James Burke. He had a way of tying historical innovations together in an interesting way. The development of the stirrup meant you could fire your bow and arrow more accurately from horseback, and that
Oh.
led to this, and this led to gunpowder, and gunpowder led to it just, and it takes you right up pretty much to the modern age through this crazy weave of. Now, I'm sure he made some interesting assumptions and whatnot, but he puts it together in a very interesting way. This was episode 4 called Faith in Numbers. I'm willing to go back to this YouTube channel and find more. I enjoyed this show at the time. Yeah, it's aged a little bit. His clothes are straight out of the London in the late 70s or early 80s. So it's kind of fun to watch the fashion statements and the cars and whatnot. But Connections from James Burke.
All right. And the last, or I really haven't been watching a whole lot. Been kind of busy this week, but I think I mentioned this last time we talked. Kim and I started watching MasterChef Junior.
Yeah.
You know, MasterChef is the show where they bring the home cooks in, and they have 3 judges on the panel. One of them is Gordon Ramsay, and they, they judge all the dishes that they ask the people to make. And we enjoyed the regular one, but I'm telling you, these kids, they range from 8 to I want to say, I know for 11, but I'm trying to remember if there's one was a 12-year-old. But these kids are cooking as well as any adult I've ever seen. Some of the dishes they're putting together, it's amazing, and it's fun to watch. And they're really focused. They're making the little tortellinis just right by hand. It's amazing. So the finale actually comes out. We're recording this on a Sunday night. It comes out tomorrow on Monday. So I'm looking forward to the final and see which one wins. Right now it's down to 3 and they're competing, and this is the end. So, and one thing that's really cool, and I'm sure they're probably coached a little bit, but the kids all support each other. They're like, it's okay, and patting each other on the back and being nice to each other, which is great to see. Very supportive of each other. So all around, it's a good show. I like
They're not mean little brats.
No, but I tell you,
my frying pan, Kenny.
Yeah. Well, what really stinks. This is the part I think I would have a hard time trying to be a judge on that show. Is that when they tell the kid that, I'm sorry, it's time for you to go. They're voted off.
Yeah.
And some of the kids, they bust out in tears because they've been really working hard on this dish, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Maybe
the adults do that too. You got to tell the adults go away, and they cry.
Oh my gosh, yeah! But try and tell that to a 8, 9, 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
Oh, they got years to recover, Craig.
Shoot, actually, I told Kim, I said, I bet some of these kids got PTSD after being on here.
They grow up and go postal because they lost on the cooking show.
Yeah.
All right. I did have one more. I know I'm still catching up because we just recently got Disney Plus. I think I mentioned that we went through Obi-Wan Kenobi. I went through Obi-Wan Kenobi. Donna and I are still getting through Mandalorian. We finished season 1, but I also started, I'm like an episode and a half away from the end.
Oh no. Let me tell you how it happens.
Yeah. Vader loses.
Right. No.
And that's, some of these shows I spend a lot of time thinking about what time frame is this in?
Yes.
It took me to about episode 8 to finally get that into context, because they're showing, Hayden Christensen shows up much like he did on Obi-Wan, but it's like, okay, we know Obi-Wan is after Vader. Luke and Leia are little kids. Now, Ahsoka is a bit later because the Empire has fallen, which means Vader threw the Emperor into the pit at Endor. or on the Death Star at Endor. And this is a little bit later, but it just, I wish they'd tell us, where we are in this thing so I can
Yeah.
figure it out a little faster. I don't even know if I've pinned down where the Mandalorian takes place.
Yeah, I think Ahsoka takes place. It says after the Battle of Yavin, so after A New Hope.
And
the cl-
we know Leia Organa, is mentioned in here. She's not seen, but she's mentioned
Mhm.
because General Syndulla is before the panel, and C-3PO comes in. I'm not sure what they did, but they need to readjust his actuators a little bit. He was leaning way back on that scene. Like, dude,
Right.
are you looking in the balcony or something? Because I've come with a. He's leaning like 15 degrees to the stern. I'm not sure what's going on with his back, but
Right.
anyway, that's fun show, good effects, nice story. Ahsoka kind of dragged a bit. It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
their primary mission is to get Thrawn off this planet, but yet they got to load up a cargo of who knows what that takes 3.5 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, it drug a little bit, but overall, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
All right. So
Obi-Wan, I know
that's
I
on
did.
my list. I threw a few more in the Geek Library. It says other things from Chuck's library, random geology, and
Yeah.
came across a guy kind of like Crazy Joe, but he does mostly Disneyland and Disney World tours of random obscure facts. Why Mickey can't cross this line. There's a line in Disneyland. And then he says, you see those baseballs up here in this gift shop? Those are special. Like, wow. How many billions of people walk by these things and haven't a clue that the
Right.
numbers on the buildings, the Imagineers left so many little subtle clues as a tip to Walt Disney or Roy or just the specific movie. There's one and only one reference to Who Framed Roger Rabbit in the whole Disneyland park. And that's on a 4-compartment metallic mailbox. When you walk up to an apartment building, they're not like mailboxes in a row. They're on the side of the building.
Right.
Almost like the call box where you go, who is it? Let me in.
Yeah.
Their mailbox. And it just says E Valiant.
Oh.
Like,
Right.
wow.
Eddie.
That's pretty obscure. And it's not even something that most people even see when they walk by.
Yeah.
Or you see the tile on the floor. It's different than the tile on the floor over here. And it's different than the tile on the wall. Now, the tile on the wall is special because this is the tile that was in Walt Disney's house. But the tile maker died and he left it to his sons and he went out of business. And they handmade all these tiles for this store. Like, jeepers creepers. This guy really went the number.
There's more Easter eggs in that than all the Star Trek movies put together.
Pretty much. But fascinating stuff. I have never been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World a couple times, but if I ever get there, I'm going to be walking around like a know-it-all. Hey, check out the baseball.
Look.
See how they have red and blue stitches? That was only happening in 1928.
I haven't been to Disneyland either. I've just been to Disney World.
I think we're headed there next year, later this year. I think it's in October. I got to check with Donna. I think we have plans to stop there for the first time.
Well, you know what? You should run some of these, Easter eggs that you read or watched about, listened about, saw, with some of our friends that are Uber Disneyland.
Yeah, do they know about these? I'm sure many of them have done their research, but some of the stuff he said I've learned from the actors or the employees who have been here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something that the general public is going to read in a book.
Our buddy Clinton Alvord, him and Bonnie are super fans of Disney. Now, they go to Disneyland all the time.
Ben and Keith too. I think they had season passes for years.
See, you should run some of these facts by them and say, "Hey, by the way, did you know?"
Well, no, you don't ask it that way. It's like,
I know.
Are you aware that there's a lot of Easter eggs that you don't go? Do you know about the baseballs? Do you know about the numbers on the buildings?
Mm-hmm.
And he's focusing. He needs to enunciate. The announcer of this video needs to enunciate just a little bit more because he sort of mashes some of his words together, and it's hard to listen on even 1.5 speed.
Right.
But and then he'll be walking along, and somebody will go, "Hey!" He goes, "Hey, people!" He's just waving to his fans, I guess. Yeah, he's got a couple 100,000 viewers, so it's not surprising he'll run into somebody that recognizes him. Alrighty, that's what we had there. We also have in the Geek Library, the best sci-fi anthology series of the year is streaming for free right now. NASA shows what it's like inside a black hole. Not sure how they got the video back from that, but
It was a GoPro. They just sent it in
and it came back.
yeah.
And many other things that I didn't have. Oh, and how Tesla made the worst truck ever. That was fun. I'm sure we
That
all
kind
know.
of sucks because I thought it was an interesting design.
I never did.
You didn't?
I
thought
saw
it was,
when I dropped you off at the airport. There was a flat
yeah.
black one there.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like the stainless steel silver.
Yeah.
It was.
You know what it reminds me of?
It's not even a good truck. That's the whole point of this. Like they're talking about how fast it accelerates. You know what? People need something that can tow. And almost every claim that Elon made in 2019 has failed. Oh, it'll be able to tow, more than 15,000 pounds. It can do 11. It'll be able to go this far. It doesn't go that far. It's got this much room. It doesn't have that much room. Yeah. It's really sad. As a truck, it's not a good truck.
You know what I thought when I saw the original design? I kept thinking of, like RoboCop, where they took like the Ford Taurus and doctored it up to make it look like a a futuristic car. You know what I'm talking about?
Pontiac 2000 SUX.
Yeah, anytime they take one of those cars, try to make it look a little futuristic, in a future movie.
Well, yeah, they also bagged on him a little bit about that. They said, because his slogan was, "The future should look like the future." Like, no, the future.
He's been watching RoboCop. That's what
you think it should look like, and it's actually a retro style. This is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
We've had wedge-shaped vehicles for years. It's
DeLorean.
a retro future car.
It looks like a DeLorean.
It does, and they made mention of that too. They said he claimed it was based on all these designs, but he didn't even include the DeLorean, which is obvious, for everybody looking at it. Not just because it's stainless steel, but the shape is really similar.
Yeah. So I would be disappointed if somebody did not put a Mr. Fusion in the back of that Cybertruck.
Okay, that would be funny.
Yeah. We'll look for that at DragonCon.
So anyway, if you want to watch that, it's in our Geek Library, How Tesla Made the Worst Truck Ever. Question of the week for you, something to think about for next week. What scientific breakthrough are we closer to than most people realize?
Singularity.
Replicators.
Well, transportation, we just talked about it earlier.
Cheese in a can.
Too late. We've already had that.
Marshmallows in a can.
Frozen pizza rolls.
Hot Pockets.
Woo. Don't put your money in there.
Oh, wait. We have those with the Galaxy 7 phones.
Yeah. Yeah. The Note 7. Yeah. Oh, boy.
All right. That takes us to the end. Let's see where we are. Yeah, we're at the end.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
That was a fast hour. Wow. Okay. We got some Patreon show to record and release soon. So look forward to that if you're a Patreon member. If you're not, again, patreon.com/Technorama podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Also, hey, there's some music. Where's that coming from? Over here.
The ether.
Oops, that was the wrong one. I need the longer music. That one. Take a week off and I need to be retrained. It's terrible.
Yeah.
All right. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call on the listener line, 707-530-2428. Send us an email, technorama@chuckchat.com. Like I said before, we'd love to hear from you. It's been a while. It's not that hard. Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
It makes calls,
It goes both ways.
Oh, they haven't heard from us? They hear from us every time we do a show.
I know. We're doing our part.
Oh, I see. You're shaming them. That's a good marketing strategy.
That's the way to get some feedback.
Work for jaywalking. That's about it, though.
That's right.
All right. Till next time, tell a friend about Technorama, and Craig's going to give you a binary high five. Go for it.
101. Call me.
Audio recording complete.
Hey,
Yes.
since we got just a couple minutes on the back side of this, here, let me show you something. Share. I don't know if I can. I don't think I got the permissions to do it. Let's see. Oh yeah, look at there. Cybertruck.
With a Mr. Oh, that is a sad. No.
I thought you were gonna say it actually improved it. Go back. Oh, let's see. There was another one. I actually texted you the picture. Oh yeah, right there.
That one's better.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Is that for real or did somebody like AI that? Or,
Well, this has got to be some kind of decal or something because it's a solid panel right there. I
Right.
don't know that unless you cut into your truck. I don't know. I would do that, but interesting. All right.
So you decided to get a RAV4 instead of the Cybertruck.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
It's like a third of the price. Why not?
I know. Actually, I'm really loving that RAV4. It's been a good car so far.
That was the other thing. You promised it would be under $40,000 for the base model. No.
Base model? Oh, what? I don't know. What are the prices on those?
It's like $80K.
For the
And
RAV4?
you no, for the Cybertruck.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean he promised? I was
He
thinking.
promised it'd be
I didn't
much
remember
cheaper
saying
than
anything
actually-
about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go watch that video. You're gonna go, wow, this guy is just so full of himself.
Hey, I was gonna say that RAV4 is not 80 grand.
No.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna end the stream because we're gonna go record our Patreon show. Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right. See ya.
Stay safe. Till next week. We're doing a show next week, right?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. 101.